Well, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat, and I just wanted to go on live stream here for about a quick, maybe 10, 15 minutes. I gotta say that if you are complaining about, oh, you make these calls wrong, you make these calls right, I think you're doing it wrong. And that's just my opinion. It doesn't really matter what I think, like completely honestly. It doesn't really matter what I think. It matters what you're going to do when something like this happens. On the greater scheme, nothing's happening on Bitcoin. On the greater scheme, this is definitely trying to find a higher low after it made a very monstrous move, right? And these things happen. Can it crash down further? Yeah, it can. But does it have to? No, it doesn't. The support zones are constantly being tested, and I gotta show you a couple of things here. So first of all, why am I thinking that this is like a great spot to buy? And I could very well be wrong, whatever they mean by that. It doesn't really matter to me whether or not it's like, oh, you're wrong, you're so bullish, blah blah blah. This is still like this is Dogecoin. I'm just gonna show you. I think we're having dog COVID right now. I think dog COVID is happening, as I have alluded to, back when we did a live stream with the great Matsby, and we're saying, you know what? I'm gonna pull back up here too. Yeah, you know what? Last time when Doge, before it shot up, it touched back. It got rejected at 0.786 and touched back to 0.618, right? Got here several weeks. You know how scary it was to go actually hit the 0.86 to actually come back all the way down to the 0.618 before having this big giant green candle, right? You know how scary that was. Well, what's happening right now? What's happening right now is that Doge decided to come back all the way down to 0.618. I bought more Doge this morning around like 26 cents. I bought more SHIB as well around 26 cents. I mean, granted, like it's not much compared to the position I already have accumulated down here, but if you're gonna give me 26 cents Doge after it looks like it just wants to form a higher low before further bullish continuation, I'll take it. Doesn't mean it's not going to hit this level down here below. Now that, it's always one of those things that whenever price goes down, everybody's saying, oh, it's going to go lower. And whenever price goes down, everybody's going to point, oh, you're a bullish influencer. Like, you must be wrong. Like, shut up, take a seat. I don't care. I really don't care. You see this and you just like, okay, flash crash, don't care, at support, lower high, buy, right? That's pretty much it. Shut my brain off, don't care, buy. Like if you see, I think Dogecoin really gave me a lot of confidence. Oh, you finally hitting the level I've been looking at for a while. So yeah, so I bought. I bought Doge. I bought SHIB. SHIB didn't really like hit my levels or whatever, but like at this point, I don't care. I'm using Doge as an indicator, so I can pick and choose what I want to buy. If you're looking at SHIB here, I guess what it did is try to break through 0.618, having a hard time doing it. Come back down, try to find some support. Where is it going to find some support? It could find all the way down to 0.382 possible, but now it got some support here beforehand. One was there's not really any major fib levels down here below for it to find support at, but it is still finding support at the more or less at the 2-week Ichimoku cloud. It broke through, came back testing it. Nothing really too bearish about it. I mean, this still looks like a big giant cup. This looks like it wants to form a little bit of a handle here, just a little bit of a handle. And Doge already bounced from that area here. Doge already bounced from like the 0.618. Doge is also trying to bounce from the Tenkan Nikkei here right now as we speak. Like these flash crashes, they can keep going down lower. I don't care. I mean, I'm trying to whip as much money as I can to buy as much as I can, and yeah, I'm cash poor, but I have some room, right? I mean, like if this morning I'm even tempted to maybe like sell some index fund and maybe get into something a little bit riskier. I mean, I don't know. Like to give keeps on giving, always have a little bit of some room to kind of maneuver, right? Ethereum on the 2-week chart here, back testing the Tenkan Kijun almost perfectly, right? On the 2-week chart. On a weekly chart, back tested the Kijun here almost perfectly after it got rejected at 0.886. You know when it got rejected at 0.886, it's going to want to try and back test something, right? You have these decent wicks down here. That means that there's demand around the zone. I think there's still demand down here around the zone here as well. But they decided to just flash crash and try to test and see how much demand is underneath. Well, I want it. I want it down here. You know, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Bitcoin, right? So here's the whole thing about. Actually, let me see. Here's the whole thing about Bitcoin. I think I did a 4-hour chart, which I can use 8-hour on probably. It did break underneath my 8-hour Ichimoku cloud. You know, it did have a little bit of a tweezer bottom-looking thing. It didn't really hold. It just ended up pushing through, and could push lower down to like 89,500. Sure, it can. Before that, there are some support levels down here below. Like, that's the thing. Like, whenever things crash, everybody's like saying lower. Well, how do you know it's going to go lower? You don't. You know? So I'm at this point, I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, let's look at the daily chart, get rid of all these like GAN stuff, and just look at the Bollinger Band. You're hitting the bottom of the low Bollinger Band. Okay, it's pretty decent risk reward ratio if I buy here, right? Kind of like here, right? You can measure how scary it was when price was like 66,000, and all of a sudden it just hits like 59,000 in a hurry, and it's just a matter of like less than 2 weeks, you know. And in less than 4 or 5 days, it went from like 108 to 93. That's so scary, you know. But it was hitting up a Bollinger Band here with a little bit of trees on top. You know it's going to come down here. The question is whether or not the mean, the 20-day moving average is holding, or whether or not it's going to come back down and kind of, you know, get to a low Bollinger Band here. Can it go lower and just stretch the low Bollinger Band further? Yeah, it can. But in general, I think these are like some pretty decent area to buy, right? Whenever it decides to get down to the low Bollinger Band. That's generally like this flash crash here in August 5th of 2024, right? That was probably an area to buy. It's not nearly as scary as that, actually. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, you want to give it to me? Give it to me. Don't care. Don't care. And another thing too, if you're talking about like miners and Coinbase, like this is definitely like an area that I'm just like, okay, you're gonna do this, you're gonna keep push price way underneath like the daily Bollinger Band. Give it to me. You want to come back and back test the horizontal zone over here? Give it to me. If COINL, this morning I bought COINL at 37.7, right? If COINL wants to retrace back to the mean and back test the 20-week moving average here, after it flipped from resistance here to support, give it to me, right? Give it to me. I bought as much as I can. I'm cash poor because my average right now is like in the low 30s, I think. But if you're going to give it to me in the 30s again, I'll buy it. Higher high, higher low, nothing really scary to me. I mean, I don't know anything, you know. I'm just a cat, just like nobody here, because no one here else is a cat. So you're gonna give it to me, like shut up, you know. Don't even think about it. Does Clean Spark have to go all the way down to low Bollinger Band? Not necessarily. That's like $7 right here, right? And right now it's actually looking like it's holding okay. The reason why is because Bitcoin looks like it's just kind of flashed down and it looks like it's trying to find support. Mara, you remember what I said about Mara? I must be wrong, because I said that it was holding below support band. Well, it's still holding a below support band. It could still hold and it could still wick down, but that's okay. Bitfarms, the further it get down underneath the weekly low Bollinger Band, probably a better risk reward ratio there is. Cypher hitting the below support band right there. Iron maybe hitting below support band right there too, right? WULF maybe hitting below a support band right there. It's still a little bit far away. It looks like it's wanting to do that. BDBT is a little bit tricky. Like you kind of initially hoping that this level over here would hold around 3.6, right? So it's buying 3.6, it's buying 3.4. Now it's all the way down here like 3.12. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to cry about it? Or are you going to look at the Bollinger Band strategy here and think, okay, so what happened last time when it stretched all the way underneath the daily low Bollinger Band? When was the last time this happened? Well, August 5th, right? What happened after that? Well, the rest is history, right? Let's look at it the other way. What happened when it was way outside the upper Bollinger Band, right? When was the last time it happened? When it happened over here around November 11th, November 12th, right? You got rejected here like crazy. You have two candles that are like way outside the upper Bollinger Band, right? I mean, granted, can it be one of those things that just keeps them going down like that to the twos? Kind of like here where it went all the way up outside the upper Bollinger Band, just kept going up higher? Maybe. But if you look at the overall, let me just get rid of all this stuff here. But if you look at the overall trend here, it's still forming higher highs and higher lows, and it's still trying to find a higher low here, right? Push through the weekly Shimoda cloud. Maybe it wants to test the bottom here. Like it can always go lower, sure, but like it's just like whenever price is going up higher, you can always go higher, sure, But at some point, too much is too much. And at some point, I think it's just reasonable to give it a shot here more and more, right? Like I never try to time these things perfect. And it doesn't matter to me whether or not I time these things perfect. Like none of this matters in terms of what actually is happening, but is actually what you're thinking is going to happening moving forward based on trend and what you're going to do right now. Riot's still trying to battle the bear trend. It got above the 50 and 100 week moving average, and right now it's trying to back test the 50 and 100 moving average zone down here. It's just a lot of these things are just kind of doing what they're supposed to be doing, and there's really nothing surprising about them, right? It's scary that Tesla is going back all the way down to like 413 when the price is still higher than where it was 2 weeks ago. I don't know. When you have a full bull trend, when things are just overextended, but it still looks incredibly bullish. I think where you buy matters, and I think whether or not you have a lot of leverage matters. And you can talk about what it's doing right now, which is basically backtesting the previous all-time high. Usually, I actually like this is one of the most bullish things that I can see. Usually, price get rejected right off the bat at the previous all-time high. Usually, that's kind of how it works. Tesla decided that, hey, I don't care. I'm just going to push through, right? Well, it got a little bit overextended. So, the marathon runners basically just want to take a break. Where's it going to take a break at naturally when your price is like all the way up here? So if you're looking at the FIB levels here, I've already drawn the FIB levels here. You look at FIB levels here, it's very simple what it's trying to do. It got rejected here at 1.236. And they come back down and needed rest here at the upper Bollinger Band here. And decided that, hey, maybe we want to backtest some other things here, find some pretty solid footing before further bullish continuation. Why are you going to do that? Well, you're going to do that for a stock like this. These are the levels, right? You're going to backtest the previous all-time high. You can wick down below a little bit. That's fine. Or it might even go all the way down to like the 0.86 or 0.786. And that will still be bullish. Because the 20-week moving average is like all the way down here to 282. So if you're buying Tesla up there, you're probably doing it wrong. That's why I'm saying like this is a hold for me. I'm not going to buy here. I've been saying that for a long time. Whenever price broke above my buying zone, I think I was buying a little bit more before it broke out above the 0.618. because I was buying down here. Right now, I don't really care what it does up here. And I don't margin. I don't use any leverage. I'm just gonna let it do its thing. It looks like it's almost like a perfect backtest of a previous all-time high. I don't know, guys. I mean, like, it can always go lower. It can always go lower. Just but it's a bull trend, so like, you can identify levels, you can buy. Like, none of this is financial advice. I'm not even buying here. I don't care if it goes to 0.86. I don't care if it goes to 0.76. I'm not buying Tesla because I already bought down here. And whatever it does up here is just noise to me. If you're leveraged, if you got like these short-term calls and you think that it's just going to keep going up higher because of momentum, and you don't think it's going to end up getting rejected at one of these levels over here and it's going to, destroy you on like quad witching, then, so be it. Not quad witching, triple witching today. Yeah, I'm not that scared. Somebody asked me about SoCool. Like, whenever you talk about these really small cap crypto, and SoCool is really small cap. SoCool is, you're talking about like $12 million market cap right now. Well, what is it doing? I mean, you can try to identify some FIP levels down below, but to me, it almost doesn't really matter because the truth is, it is still trying to identify a little bit of a higher low here before going up higher. It did have a little bit of these wicks up here above, so there's a little bit of supply up here that's trying to eat. It's still trying to push through the 2-week Ichimoku cloud here, where it got perfectly supported. I still think it wants to go up here. I still think it wants to break out, but this is a little bit of a flash crash that happens sometimes. Very similar to over here. Sometimes you're just gonna have these flash crash. I'm not that bothered by it. When you talk about these small cap altcoins, sometimes it's less about the technicals of these individual small cap altcoins, but it's more about like the greater picture. If you were to bought down here, I think it would still have been a very, very good zone to buy, and it's just basically come back and back test the zone. Can it always go lower? It can always go lower. I don't think that it necessarily has to, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I just want to tell you like what I was doing. If you want to talk about some other traumatizing things here, MicroStrategy, everybody's scared about MicroStrategy. It was holding some support zone over here. You have the weekly kitchen over here, which can still serve as support, by the way, this week. And if it has a breakdown, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go a lot lower, because sometimes you have false breakdowns. And if it breaks down, you can still maybe spend a few weeks here just kind of hang around underneath this level over here, and it can still push up, kind of like what it did over here, right? Let me turn off all these indicators here. I mean, if you look at the weekly here, yeah, there's a chance that MicroStrategy can have a lot lower to go, but does it have to? No, it doesn't. It's going to come back all the way down to like the 280s. Like, a lot of people are prophesizing that it's going to close the gap down here. It'd be so funny to me if it didn't end up doing that and it just runs from here. Like, I don't know what else to say. Because I'm seeing enough to tell me that I think things are a little bit overextended to the downside. And right now, if you would have bought Doge at if you were to bought Doge with me at 26 cents, I think it's already doing pretty decent. Now, granted, can it crash down further? It always can, right? But there is demand here, and I'm the demand. Anyway, yeah, so I already talked about CONL. I bought more CONL. MSTR is, MSTR can always go lower, but I still think that it's at a pretty strong support zone. I don't know what's going to happen during the day. Let's see what happens, and if it ends up getting all absorbed, great, and if it ends up having a breakdown here, if it closes the cap down here, that's fine too. It's all, there's no like absolute. If I choose not to take profit here because I also don't know when to buy lower, because I already bought lower. Like, that doesn't really matter. I think this is still going to keep going up higher. On the greater scheme, none of this really matters. I still think that MicroStrategy on the greater scheme is going to break 1.618. I still think that it's going to head up to this arc up here. That's where I think it's going to go, and I think it's going to pass the arc, and I think it's going to keep going up higher. But sometimes before you go up higher, you have to go down a little bit lower and grab liquidity before you go up higher. I still think that that's the case. Now, I might be delusional because you're looking at Bitcoin candle like over here, like I don't know, it's got a little bit of a death wish over here. It looks like a what do you call that? Looks like gravestone doji here. It looks very, very scary. Well, you still have 10 days to close the month, right? And all Price is doing right now with Bitcoin is it's just basically backtesting the upper Bollinger Band. Have something like this happen on its way up. Like, do we have a fractal here? Yeah, we have a little bit of fractal, like maybe this candle over here. It even wicked down a lot lower than it did before to grab demand down below. So could Bitcoin go down lower even to grab demand? Yeah, there's always that possibility. The only difference between here and there was that, here, just a bunch of retail. They're not, maybe some whales, but like those whales are like crypto bros, Here, you're talking about like who are the whales? The whales over here is BlackRock. So I don't know how far this has to go down. I don't care, and I think at some point you have to kind of think for yourself. You're like, oh, all these influencers are all like always bullish, never bearish. Well, on a bull market, I tend to lean bullish. So far it doesn't just crash down on a V shape, just like it doesn't do that. It's even the top here, like it doesn't do that. Even the top here, it does that only because it's been overextended for how many months now? Months number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 above the monthly upper Bollinger Band. How many months have we had above the upper Bollinger Band right now? 1. Right? Over here, when does bull market end? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles above the upper Bollinger Band. And then even then, it didn't really crash all the way down. You actually make another higher high here and get exhausted before it crashed down, right? So it doesn't just crash down. That's not how market structures work. And the momentum is still to the upside on a higher time frame. If you're wondering about the exact levels and things like that because you're trying to be perfect, I'm not trying to be perfect. So if you're trying to be perfect, I'm not the one to like follow or whatever. You shouldn't follow anyway. I think the term follow is like silly. It's backtesting the zone over here. Like big deal, I don't I don't know. Yeah, it's like, and COINL is still again, I bought like this morning around 37.7 because I think that this could be a pretty decent risk reward ratio over here, right? It could crash down lower this morning. I don't really care. Yeah, some people say it's always good to have some cash on the sidelines. Well, it doesn't matter if I deployed my cash 2 months ago. Like, it doesn't matter. Anyway, higher highs, higher lows. That's the whole theme of things. And I think Dogecoin is really a indicator to really tell me that I think that we have found some pretty major support across the zone. If altcoin is finding some major support using Doge as an indicator, where it's finding support exactly where it was during the last cycle over here, then I'm happy to buy and see how it works out. There's always risk, right? There's upside risk and downside risk. The people on the downtrend only focus on the downside risk. I focus on the upside risk when it's a bull trend. They could go a lot higher. It could go a heck of a lot higher. So the downside risk is what people focus on a short-term time frame, but I got to zoom out here, and there's nothing bearish about this chart. There's nothing bearish about the Bitcoin chart, except for if you're focusing on short term. You're like, oh, it has to crash down here. It's like a a trader's mentality. Even traders don't know. A lot of traders calling a lot lower, like 80,000. I bet they're feeling euphoric right now. When simply like price hasn't really even like crashed down that hard. Like it crashed down to all these wick level down here. So all I'm trying to say is that, you know, be a little bit cautious of the upside risk. That's all I'm trying to say. Be a little bit cautious on the upside risk. I drew this. I thought it was an APC. I thought it could potentially bounce 0.5. Does it have to play out this way? No. Can it go down lower? Yes. Do I believe in these like exact short-term Fibonacci levels? No. It didn't find the perfect bounce here. Does it make me sad? No, I don't care. But it's still a very nice bull trend, and it is still finding support at the variance support band given the flash crash. It's still backtesting this whole horizontal zone over here where it got rejected here. It's flipping it into support. Take that into consideration, and then come back later and tell me that I'm wrong, because I don't really care. Anyway, I'm gonna a PCE. Yeah. I don't really care about any of that though, Vivian. Well, like whatever. What's GME doing? Is GME crashing? No, it's not. GME is like, I don't care. You know, also GME also didn't care during yeah, you know why I know it's not like a bad crash, like it doesn't, none of this matters. It's because GME back in August 5th, like it all it did was, and I hate all these like indicators. GME back in August 5th and everybody was scared. I was like, I don't know. Look at GME as an indicator. Look at GME, look at Doge. And it tells you a lot, right? GME just backtesting the weekly cloud, right? And what is GME doing right now? Nothing. On the weekly, you had a bullish 10-Kijun cross, right? And if GME is doing okay, and yeah, and it's not even from backtest to 10-Kijun, like it's not even doing that. It could very well do that during market hours, come back down to like 26, maybe come back down to like 50, 25. It could very well do that later, right? I could eat my words, right? But like, they don't care. The market doesn't care. It's a flash crash, and I could very well be wrong, but I think that on the higher time frame, on the weekly time frame, bull trend on a lot of these stocks, and on a monthly time frame with bull trend with a lot of these stocks, just being scared when it's like this impulsive is not, you know, my style, if you will. If you're not sure, you can sell if you want. I don't know where you're going to want to buy back lower. If you want to sell Tesla here because you think it's getting rejected by a previous all-time high and you want to buy back lower, that's fine. I don't know where you're going to buy back lower though. Are you going to wait until like $378.85 to buy back? Are you going to wait for it to hit like $347.58 to buy back? Is it going to get there? This kind of momentum? I don't know. Anyway, just food for thought. And yeah, let me take a look at VIX right now, actually. Let me take a look at the VIX. Like, should I be scared about the VIX? No, I mean, it got rejected over here at the bottom of the very thick monthly Shimoku cloud, and it's not even really getting up there. Yeah. What do I think about, for example, CLSK losing Ichimoku on the short time frame? It's been losing the short time frame Ichimoku. It's been losing that. This is nothing different. I think it's trying to find a higher low. I don't know exactly where that's going to be. Some people are saying about the gap close over here, already closed the gap yesterday, and it hasn't really gone out that far, you know, that much further down, if you will. If you want to look at the two-day Ichimoku, if you're interested in that, there is a little bit of support and resistance here. Here's resistance, here's support, right? It's breaking down there a little bit, but the lower time frame stuff, it's really hard for me to say. I think CleanSpark is a little bit weaker on a lower time frame here compared to the other miners because it is breaking down underneath the bonus support band. The bonus support band was not really able to hold very well, probably because the curves over here is not upward sloping enough. It's just lagging. You see how like Mara, it's gonna be a little bit more decent in terms of support because it's pushing up a little bit higher. CleanSpark is just not. So you have to take into consideration, like, okay, so what's CleanSpark doing right now? Does it have to come back down like to the 100 again? Or is it just gonna end up having another wick over here and close the week? It's hard to say, right? All I know is that it has been breaking down underneath, and this is why I haven't really been buying more CleanSpark. I think if it breaks down to the single digits, if it gets down to the zone here again, I might be a little bit more interested in trying to like sell some other things and try and buy. But it's been breaking down. It tried to push above, it's not able to push above, so it's going to want to try to find a higher low, right? All I gotta say is like something's happening. Volatility is coming to the upside or the downside. All it takes sometimes is just a little bit of volume to pushing through the Ichimoku cloud. And right now the volume is to the downside, but you have a little bit of a capitulation volume over here. So I don't know. It's tough for me to say. All I can say is looking at the rest of the sector, looking at Mara, it also is breaking down here a little bit, right? But does it have to necessarily be a breakdown, or is it a back test of this horizontal level over here, close the week this way, and the next week pushes back up again, right? Volume hasn't been that high for Mara. Bitfarm has been high, but I was showing on X, I was showing like some unbalanced volume that was kind of striking to me. Whenever you have something like unbalanced volume where price gone down and you have the unbalanced volume going up, generally it's a good thing. You have a divergence. Like these are classic bullish divergence. You're having that right now, right? So am I seeing that with CleanSpark here? You are? No, not really, because it's actually been going up. And unbalanced volume's been going up, so I'm not really seeing any divergences over here. All I know is that at some point, and on like a flash crash scenario like this, I rely a little bit more on like lower time frame Bollinger Band, and lower time frame Bollinger Band tells me that it's a little bit too stretched to the downside. That's all I gotta say. I gotta go soon, so I'm gonna answer 2 more questions. One question is WULF. Where do I think WULF is? Well, it's hitting low Bollinger Band here on the daily. On the weekly, it's not even necessarily hitting the 20-week moving average here. Like this is still a very incredibly strong chart. It's trying to back test the horizontal zone over here, right? Can it break down a little bit further to test the arc? Yeah, it can. Can it break down a little bit further and test the kitchen down here? Yeah, it can. You can go down another like 50 cents from where it closed yesterday. Possible. Still be a bull trend, right? Or even lower and back test the wick down here to like 5.8. Still a bull trend, right? Yeah, like I'm not worried because I don't play these individual moves. I play cycle. It's higher highs and higher lows. I don't think Bitcoin's over yet. So looking at one last thing, and I'm going to go. Somebody asked about GLD. So I actually don't have like a GLD chart, but I have gold. What I think about gold, I think gold is rejected here at the, and I'm going to look at the monthly here because this is where I draw again here on the monthly, I believe. This is gold here. You want, if you're a gold bug, 1440 and 5, that's how I drew it. From the bottom all the way down to like the 1970, right? You can see how great this market symmetry has given me. Rejection, support, broke through an arc here, rejection, found support here in space, and we broke through the arc here. And then right now we're breaking through horizontal zone over here, and we're hitting the 1.618 fit level here as resistance. So if you're asking me about gold, I can say that it might want to go down a little bit lower potentially. I think 2,500 is going to be a very good support zone. Shall it need that? But I'm not really like a gold bug. I don't really follow gold that closely. All I gotta say is, can it hit 25,000? There is a possibility of it doing that. But you also have to take in consideration too that it also have hit the low Bollinger Band here once and twice. Like, does it have to keep doing that? I don't know. And gold is one of those things that I generally don't really like to get into, because I always feel that during a bull cycle, it runs up a lot immediately, which it did, and then it hit some crazy resistance during like an early bull cycle, and it just kind of did not much, if you will. What do I mean by that? Well, that's exactly what I mean by the bull market over here around like 2020. Right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4 really green candle up here. And then around like August of 2020, it peaked, when everything else was just running like crazy. Gold peaked right there, right? But what's happening right now? You have candles number 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to October, and you hit a very important resistance zone over here, right? Do I think it's going to have to like crash all the way down? No. Like what it did over here was just basically push through, and it came back down, back test the level here. In this particular case, is 0.786, right? From this high over here to this low over here, it just basically came back to the 0.786 multiple times before going up higher. So here, where are we at right now? Let's put some fib levels over here, right? 1.414. Could it go down to 2,500? Yeah, it can. Come back down here. Maybe even go and zigzag here like it did over here. Maybe even break down here a little bit before pushing up higher. That's what I'm seeing. Like, gold needs to cool down this big giant move, and that's what it's doing right now. It could just find support over here and just keep going up. I don't know, but I see it potentially coming down here to like 2,500, and just kind of zigzag here around a little bit. So I don't know. Like, it's not something that I'm really that interested in. Or it can come back test the tank in here at some point. It's fine. It's fine. All right, guys. Take care. I hope you guys are enjoying today's price action, because it's extremely scary to some. And if you have cash, it's extremely exciting for others. I don't have much cash. I just do what I can. And I did what I can this morning. And I think where I did what I can was okay. I didn't do too bad. So, all right, guys. Gonna get off the live stream. It's been 38 minutes. I thought it was gonna come on for like 10, 15 minutes. But all right, take care. Bye.